Hello, Danny.
Hi guys, how's everyone? Let me rename myself.
Can you hear me? We can start now. So, so today basically we are going to discuss about the Sitecore 10 with ASP.NET Core and how we can build our solution using the ASP.NET Core using the Docker and what would be the development flow. Let's say if you want to create a new component using the ASP.NET Core, what would be the step to develop that component and then push that component through your local to the development to the production environment. So uh, that is the flow, and then uh, I have set up some agenda here. So so the agenda is we'll discuss the flow as I mentioned. We'll do a demo. We'll develop a component very quickly, and then we'll push our changes and see how it works with ASP.NET Core. Benefit and what features are supported and not supported, a few tips, and we'll take any question and answer. Okay, so so with the Sitecore 10, these are the three main architectural element. So the one is the Docker. As we all know that Sitecore 10 is mostly now focusing on the Docker component. So we can quickly spin up our the local environment. We can create our images. We can push our images, and it's like a very rapid development. It's very lightweight. If you want to set up XP, XC on your local environment, it's few lines of command. Once you have image on your machine, you can set up within 30 minutes. The second core focus is Sitecore headless content. So JSS framework is already there. Uh, it's client-side framework, but as we know, ASP.NET Core, uh, the way the trends are going, it's more fast cross platforms. Sitecore Commerce, which is completely built on .NET Core. Sitecore XP is still on .NET Framework, and this is the one like one step toward moving the .NET Core. Slowly and gradually, Sitecore is definitely going to move toward the ASP.NET Core. So .NET Core is again one key feature, and the third one is the traffic. So traffic is when we use the Docker. So within the Docker, we have different containers. So each container need a point where it can interact with different container. So traffic is managing those entry points. So these are the three areas we are going to discuss today. So if you see the XM architecture, it's a very simple architecture with the Sitecore. Uh, from here, we can see identity server, content delivery server, content management server, and then of course we have the Redis, Solar indexes. It could be Azure or any other indexes, and the one database. So with the ASP.NET Core, now if you see, that would be the change. So we won't expose the content delivery server directly to the end user. There would be always ASP.NET rendering host project, which is sitting on the content delivery server. So what it does is that content delivery server will work as a content as a service, let's say JSS framework. It will pass the content to the ASP.NET rendering host, and then rendering host will have different components which are built on ASP.NET Core. So it will mix the layout with the content, and then it will pass it to the end user. So same thing, this is XM, same thing with the XP. So it's the same architecture. So it's a different architecture, but the flow would be the same. ASP.NET rendering host will sit onto the content delivery server. So this is the flow, the request, how the request will comes in, and here the rendering engine SDK will mix the content and the layout, and then we'll show to the end user. uh, so these are the prerequisites to set up the environment. I will pause it here and then we'll do more hands-on. So we'll get the more details. So to start our development, basically we need to check this site. This is a simple MVP site which has the code and almost all the Docker file ready. So what we need to do to start the development and to get more details. So uh, let me open PowerShell here. So I have cloned that site on my local machine, and to start the development, basically first we need to initialize a few configuration. So if I can show you the project. So basically this is the project MVP simple sites. I just clone this on my local machine. So it has the source code, simple solution, which follows the Helix architecture, project foundation feature, and the environment, as well as it also has the all Docker files. So we can spin up a new environment, we can build, and then we can deploy it. So what I'm going to do here is I will set up this on my local machine. I will spin up a new environment using the XP, and then we'll do the component build. So to do that, uh, we need to open the PowerShell uh, in the admin mode, and we need to initialize. So I'm on that root C project Sitecore and MVP site, and I need to initialize the environment. So there's a PowerShell script to initialize the environment. If you see the script, so this is the PowerShell script. What it does is that it will get all the required variable, and then it will set up. So from here, if you see, it will check all the parameters. If there's an issue, it will stop it. And if we pass a value called initialize the environment, then it will set up the license file and license file path. And once we pass all the variables, so it will generate a certificate for Terrific, and then uh, it will create this host file entry on your local host. So these are the commands: add host entry, and it will just set up the host entry on your local, not local, within the Docker container. And from here, these are the Sitecore CLI. So it will set up the all environment variable. So what we are going to do here is I will pass this initialize PowerShell command, and then I will pass a few parameters. So okay, so I'm initializing that environment. I'm sending the license path from my local. So I have the license file at C license folder, and I'm sending the password. Okay, although let me initialize this one. So this script has successfully executed, and it has set up all the variables. Now in the solution, if you see, there is a .env file. So this file is very important. This file has all the required variable configuration. Let's say host license folder. So by default, if I won't provide this one, it will go and pick from here. So this file we will use to set up the staging and different environment. So by default, it has all the configuration. Let's say what is the Sitecore Docker registry path. So it's scr dot Sitecore. So we can override. We can use our own uh, own configuration. So the first step was we need to initialize these things. And the second one is we need to spin up the new environment. So there is a different PowerShell script called up. If we see this script, it has a few commands. Basically what it does is it will restore the .NET tool, and then it will do the Docker compose up in a disconnected mode. So it will run the Docker compose, which is this Docker compose YAML file. This file will spin up all the container. Let's say for it will get the image from the traffic, then it will spin up the Redis, then it will spin up the Solar instance, then it will set up the ID, and then CD instance. Now here we can also see there is an override compose file. So if there is any override file, by default the override file will take the more weightage. So this file will be executed. So whenever we are making any change, we usually prefer to create the override file rather than changing in the compose file. So now if we do the spin up, so now from here you can see all the steps, let's say 4 out of 11, 5 out of 11, sale. Uh, so you can see all the steps are here. So these are the steps running at this moment. So I changed a few files, so it's populating the new environment. Now I will show you my local Docker instance. So this is my local Docker instance. So this is an additional site. Now we can see in a few minutes there would be new sites within the container. So now you can see the containers are coming. So it will this script will spin up each container, and then it will club, and then it will spin up XP environment on my machine. These names you can see adoring Austin. So these are the random names which Docker generates. So I think I got some error here. So let me. It's still running. Okay. Okay. So I think it will take 2 to 3 minutes. If you have any questions, like we can discuss now. So what we are going to do here is like I will set up a new environment on my machine, and then I think the common problem with the development is like how we can do the debug within the Docker, how we can push our changes using the Docker. So those type of scenario we'll try to see here. We'll debug our code uh, through the Visual Studio, and we'll debug our code within the Docker container, maybe the CD instance or the CM instance. So this one is still running. Now you can see the MVP site here, and there are two containers. One is for SQL, one for Redis. I'm waiting for more. Uh, one for Solar and CD, CM, and traffic. Okay, I think it will take 2 minutes. So let me open the code here, so we can discuss the coding part here. So so this is the default setup, the solution for the MVP site. If you see here, so it has the Helix structure. So same the feature, foundation, and the project. So in the project, if you see, it has two projects. So the MVC site rendering, it's built on ASP.NET Core, which would be the starting point, as we show in that PowerPoint slide. And this is the site configuration, which is on the .NET framework. And what it does is, like, because this is a front-facing site, it will connect with Sitecore services, and then it will get the feature like components, and then it will combine and then render to the CT site. So this again build on the Sitecore serialization pattern. So if you see, all the modules are there. So this is the the site level modules with all the configuration, and there are few modules. If you see feature uh, for the rendering of the hero, this is again hero modules, which has the templates and the layout. So this project is following the Sitecore content serialization, not the Unicorn. So let me check. Still, it's taking time. Okay, I'm not sure. Like whenever I do the presentation, it takes time. Usually on my local system, it won't take that much time. So okay, so let me open the PowerPoint slide for now. It's taking time. So these are the prerequisites we would need. Uh, .NET Core 3.1, .NET Framework 4.8, Visual Studio, and then Docker. It should run on the window, and then PowerShell. Now, how to start the development? I think this is what we are doing at this moment. Maybe it will take next 3 to 4 minutes. Uh, then, um, if you have an issue, like, we can connect with the community. So, what feature are not supported? So, Horizon, as we know, it's a lightweight content editor tool, and that is not supported if we go with ASP.NET Core. Edit frames also not supported. Sitecore forms, all the expense forms are not supported. Xconnect events goal, those are not supported. Manage cloud standard and the premium, those are not supported with the ASP.NET Core. Few tips. I will pause it here because okay, it's still running. Okay, so let's discuss uh, this part. So so when we do this part, you can see there is a Kubernetes folder and there is a Docker folder. In the Kubernetes folder, this has the script. So you can see this is PowerShell script. So if we want to spin up a new environment using that we want to create complete infrastructure, and then we want to deploy the complete set of code. So it has the predefined script, so we can generate. If we see from here, so these are the parameters which we can set up through our Azure pipelines, and these are the again parameters, and we can create the Azure Kubernetes service through this command line, Azure CLI. So this is available. We just need to pass the resource group name, and it will create these Azure Kubernetes services, and then it will link the Azure Kubernetes services with the ACR. So ACR is the content, it's like Azure content registry. So when we are working on the Docker, so we will usually use the images. So when we first time do the environment spin up, our local environment will get the images, and when we are working as a team, like 4 to 5 developer, it's recommended that we have our own Azure content registry where we can push all our images, and then everyone from the development team can pull that image, and then within a few minutes they can get the latest images and spin up the environment. So uh, this script will also create this node pool. So Azure content services will need the ports. It will create the pools, and all the specification like secrets. So secrets basically in the txt file, and we were writing a code. I think in my previous task I written a code where I automated this text file to read from the Azure key vault rather than reading from this txt file. So these are just sample. We can get this as a configuration, and then we can configure this in Azure key vault. I'm still surprised that okay. Okay, and um, so you can see there are 3 more folders. One is the external. So what Sitecore is recommending that SQL Server, Redis, and Solar. These are the common platform. It's not owned by Sitecore. So when we do our setup, we need to make sure that we do our own SQL setup. We need to pull out this YAML file, and whatever instance we want to set up, we can do it from our side. Solar, maybe we need to replace with search stack. So that's something we can do. And these are the site code. Uh, these are the namespaces, and these are the site code YAML files. Okay, I got error. Cannot start because this container has the deadline exceeded. So I think it's a recent some error. So let me clean this environment.
Would be a locked demo if you didn't have some issues.
Yeah, recently in the Slack channel, someone has posted the same, but that's fine. I can just quickly. Let me restart this one. I'm just restarting the Docker container. It's updating. So I was before that meeting, I just started the Docker, so I think I would have that on my local machine if I can show you. So I haven't refreshed this page. So once we have the Docker up and running, we would see this site, the Sitecore site on our local system. And I just created a one component. This is what I was trying to show you. Let's wait for this one. Okay, so still I have MVP. This equal is still okay. Let me stop. That is our script to clean up the environment. I think the shipped container. So all the container. So this will remove all unused container. Okay, so I have this open on my machine. So for now, like we can discuss rather than wasting our time. So so I was just before this demo, I was just creating the component. So the way it works is so this is the Sitecore instance. So you can see the MVP cmsc.localhost. So from here, basically we would create a new template. So I created one template here. Let's say data source example. I put some fields, and once we have the template ready, we would need to create a rendering. So I created a new rendering called data source example, and that data source example is basically just pointing to the new template which I had created here, and yeah, that's it. And then in the placeholder for the main placeholder, I allowed this component so that I can use on the page. So that's what I did. And after that, I created a one page, which is a test page. And when I click on this one, I can't click now, otherwise it won't work. So when I click on this one, I was able to see that new component. I drop that component here. So once we drop that component, it won't show anything because it it would need the rendering. So the solution here, I quickly use the existing hero component, which is this one. And in the hero component, basically I created a data source example model, which has few fields, uh, body, text, feature, image, promoting candidates. So once I have this model in my new feature component, I created a view where I wanted to show this model. So this is a data source example view. So just showing the feature image and the promo link, which is a my link, which you can see here. It's my link and the sample rendering example. So once we create a new feature component, we would need to register this component here, which is on the rendering project. In the rendering project, the startup, we would need to register this feature hero component. And if I go into definition, I just added a new data source example here, and it worked for me. Let me try once more time. I connect to the remote server to reinitialize again. So this is the command actually. Docker content LSA. It will remove all the container. The dongling images. I think the issue with this one, just looking for the command to remove all the containers. So the container is running, so I need to compose down. This one also. Okay, it's stopping, but somehow it's not stopping this one. Okay. Okay, so the removal is already in progress. So it's removing, basically, if you see, it's trying to remove this SQL container. So maybe we need to wait. Try again. Okay, so what it says is this particular container is already in progress. So okay, so the existing container, the XP one, is already removed. Now trying this one again. This is still in progress. Let me restart this one. So I have restarted the Docker again. Okay, still this. Okay, finally it's removed. So this, now we don't have any container, running container. I will just spin up this environment again. So hopefully it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Okay, so this container is here now. Okay, SQL is there. So I'm waiting for. Okay, Solar is up. Okay. Okay, so I think let's wait for 2 more minutes and then for now I can start showing this questions.
Your voice is a bit laggy, I think.
Is it better now?
Yep, much better. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully the container is created. It's tricky, like, okay, that's good. Let's see. Okay, CM is ready now. Now this one is the final ASP.NET entry. It shouldn't create any issue because that's .NET is standard. Okay, so container is up. Now this script will try to push all the content. So if I can browse this one. Okay, let me refresh this one. Okay, so now the container is up and running. So you can see, so this is traffic. Refresh this one. Okay, still waiting. So once we have this dashboard up and running, basically we would see each container and the mapping of the container, that what port it's mapped with, and how it is, what is the internal port and what is the export, like external port for each container, let's say for the CM instance as well as for the CT instance, identity server and the Solar instances. So that's something we will see here. Okay, I think the system is now very slow. Let me refresh this instance. Okay. So the instance is up, but still it's trying to map all the container and in like ports. So the script is still running. So once we have this up and running, like we would see this as a local CD instance. It's just still a few windows were open on my machine, and like we would see the site in the expense editor. I'm closing this window. I think let's wait for this one. Okay, so so let's try to understand like what is the benefit of using the ASP.NET Core till it's yeah, getting time. So once you have ASP.NET Core in place, so the first benefit would be like we can simply press F5 and then we can run all the Visual Studio code, and then we can debug our code. So we don't need to attach the debugger because Visual Studio itself is connecting with the JSS services, which I'll just show you here. So, so this is the main project, and this is the startup file where we configure all the DI, and in the settings you can see that this project, this ASP.NET Core, is basically using the JSS services, and the site name is MVP site, and this is the API key. So this API key, if you're using the JSS, it's a template ID of that settings. So and this is the instance URL, right? So basically this core rendering is internally calling this JSS services to get the content, and then it's because we are registering this model, the component here, then it's reading that feature view, and then it's pushing to the front like as a part of the CD instance. And yeah, and then the one thing is that how this ASP.NET Core rendering understand that which JSS service I need to call, which component I need to call. So it's basically mapped based on the name. So the name of the component should be the same in the Sitecore as well as here in the ASP.NET rendering. So based on the name, once we drag and drop that component on the page, the ASP.NET rendering will get this through the JSS services that this is the component, give me the data. So it will get the data and then it will render. So in the view, if you see, let's say for the hero view, so these are the ASP4 promo link. So for each field type, there is a resolver in the ASP.NET Core SDK. So what it does is that when you define a field type in the template, let's say image or the single line text or the rich text editor, so the JSS services will expose those content, and the ASP.NET Core rendering, they have their own resolver which resolve the content, and there is a provision that if you want to create our own resolver, so that's something we can create. Okay, again it's timeout for this CM instance. Okay, because we haven't uh, clicked on this one. Usually it opened this instance, but we went to open this one. So let me. So this is now. It's very slow. I'm not sure. So you can see from the code, it's sending the code to 999. So I just need to authenticate this. Okay, so finally, so now this instance is running in within the Docker. I will allow. Okay, now now this script will push all the content and then it will do the quick publishing. Okay, let me show the Docker. So this is fine. Let's try this. Okay, now you can see this, right? Let me refresh this one. Okay, beautiful. So this traffic, as I said, that it has inbound outbound mapping. Let's say for the local host. So the green highlighted are the container which we are running, and these are the default with the traffic. So and this is the dashboard. Okay, now let me refresh this local instance. PowerShell script. Okay, it's very slow. Maybe because I'm sharing the screen. Otherwise, it shouldn't take that much time. Now the publishing has started.
It's nice and speedy for you, man.
Actually, today morning, like before the demo, I just see a deployment in like 10 minutes. Maybe because I'm sharing the screen, it takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because recently when I did uh, the same presentation in India, like 3 weeks back, so it was taking a lot of time, but not compared to today. Today is
Yeah,
taking okay. So this is the local instance. So I think we can quickly cover now. Move to something here.
So traffic is basically your ingress controller, and everything that all requests that come in externally route through that, and then it tells you which container or which node to direct the request to.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Correct. This is for the local, and then ingress we have for staging and production.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So fully. Okay, I haven't pushed my change. So I think we are running out of time. So basically, I'm just providing a walkthrough that we would create a template here, and the standard process, we will define the rendering, we will do the placeholder settings, and once we go here, and then we can put our debugger here. So one thing I was just trying to show here, that we can quickly, we can quickly debug from here. That's what I was trying to show you. So this is like first time we can have all our code running within the Visual Studio. So this is the local instance, you can see. And if I put on, let's say, on my navigation link, okay. Yeah, so I can quickly, it will come here and then we can quickly debug the code. Okay, now you can see. So it's very fast. We don't need to depend on, the attach process and all this thing. So okay, so this is one thing. Let me my local instance. I can debug it. Put the debugger. I will refresh it. It will comes here. So this is the case where I'm running this instance from my Visual Studio. Now, how about if I want to debug within the Docker? Let's say I'm running one CM instance and one CD instance within the Docker. Now, how I would know that my contents are pushed in the CD instance or not? So we can also do that. So to do that, basically we need to see the container window. So from the other window, there is a containers. So in the container window, if you see, so it will show us all the container which are running here within the Docker. So let's say for my CD instance, what files are there, right? So I can check the logs from here. I can check, so logs, like when I do anything here, it will just come up here in the file. So this is within the Docker. I can see that what is inside my inet pub www root, and let's say in the app config, and these are the config we can see. And uh, this script is continuously watching this project. So whenever we do, it's like mounted. Whenever we make any change, let's say in any of the file, it will be pushed within the Docker and it will be reflected to our site. Now, if you want to debug this one in the CD instance, so what we can do, like we can attach the process. If I do the attach, and
It's pretty cool.
yeah, so sometimes we see issue, right? Like it's working on CM and it's not working on the CD, but now we can quickly attach to both instance and see. Okay, so this is my instance. So this is my CD, which is running inside the Docker. So if I just put the attach, okay, so this is now running from the CD instance. And if I go to my CD instance, which I believe this is a CM, this is the CD instance. So if I just put the refresh here and just do the Ctrl+5. This is a link showing me the error. Let me check my debugger again. It's CD. It's already attached to the CD instance. This is CD instance. Let me try with the CM. If it is CM. Anyways, we can debug because these are the individual container. It has their own running within the IS, so we can attach and we can debug it. Okay, I think that's what I just wanted to show you. Is there any question? So we can discuss. Just to teach.
I think it's pretty cool, man. Be cool to try and get that as our standard setup and start working with that.
Yeah. So there's a Confluence page. Maybe I think I just wanted to show you. So I've added all this thing in the Confluence page. So if you want to spin up a new local environment and want to create a component, so all the steps are there. Yep.
Cool. You can kind of see how that might be better than downloading a 70 gig VM. Every time, just have one VM that you work in and just knock out containers for an environment. Happy days. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I think it's very fast now. So I had this Lighthouse and the ASP.NET Core demo on my machine. It's very quick, like in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I can spin up and I can change. Yeah.
And you can kind of up and down your instances. So if you're not using one, you can free up that those resources really quickly, which is nice.
Yep. Yeah. Is there any more questions? Thomas, is Parveen is there?
I think Tom had to drop off. I saw him
Okay.
sneak out the side door.
Okay. Okay, then if we don't have more questions, then probably we can drop. Jen, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Well, thanks so much for spending the time to showing us the whole bunch of cool stuff today. Really appreciate it. I'm sure our team learned quite a few things. So thanks so much.
Yep, thank you.